Hey guys, it's Vornskyr here, and today we're back in Elite Dangerous and going to take a look at update 1.04, which just came out yesterday. So this introduces a fair few bug fixes as well as a couple that are pretty important. So I'll talk about those and then we'll go and have a fly around and we'll see if we can actually notice some of them in action. So one of the big ones that we'll see is that the server, or the matchmaking I should say, has been changed a bit so that you'll now see more commanders when you're in open mode or open play. Now this is really cool. I've already seen the effect of this. I mean, I've only played for about half an hour since the patch came out, and I've already, this system that I'm in, there's normally one or two players around depending on the time of day. I've already seen 5 or 6 in half an hour, and I've been in PvP with one of them at a nav beacon, which was pretty awesome. I say it was awesome because I won the fight, but it's really cool seeing all these players around in open mode. There are some things that come along with that, which I'll talk about a bit later. Not in terms of gameplay, but just something you'll have to kind of consider flying around in open mode. But anyway, so let's move on as I look across to my second screen. And TrackIR follows that perfectly. The other thing is, there was a bug, if you did much combat or bounty hunting, you would have noticed this. There was a bug where if you attacked a member of the dominant faction, and if that person had a bounty, the system authority would attack you afterwards because they were members of the same faction, basically. That bug has now been fixed, so that's pretty cool. I know that got me killed at least once. Plenty of other players have lost lives or even all of their credits to it if they didn't have enough insurance. So that's a good one to see fixed, and it confirms that it was a bug. I know a lot of people actually thought that was just how the game was supposed to work. Those are probably the two big ones. What else is there? There's another also about bounty hunting, but this is on player. So apparently if you killed a player by taking out, like, say, their power plant or some other vital component, you wouldn't actually get a bounty, or you wouldn't be rewarded their bounty for doing that. It seems that that's been fixed, so that's pretty cool. Most of the others are just kind of general bug fixes and that sort of thing. I'll leave a link to the patch notes in the video description. But let's launch out of here, and I'll super cruise over to the nav beacon. We'll see if we can see any other players, and yeah, we'll just see what's going on. I've heard that combat against NPCs has actually gotten more difficult since this patch came out. I can't really confirm that myself, but that would be interesting if that's the case. I mean, let's be honest, combat, especially against NPCs, has been pretty easy. So it would be interesting if that's been made a bit more difficult. So let's go into frameshift drive, into super cruise, and we'll see if there's any players cruising around. See, what I was talking about earlier is, now that you're going to notice more players, you're going to notice the effects of that in open mode a bit more. So, for example, coming out of a station, a dude rammed into me. That's pretty much never happened before because in the amount of time that I've played this game, it's been so rare to actually encounter another player, Well, even back in beta when there was only like 10, 50 systems, whatever it was, it wasn't a common occurrence, at least not for me. So I guess that sort of thing is going to happen more often, especially if you're in the busier systems. You're going to encounter players at nav beacons as well. I mean, this is all assuming you're playing in open mode, of course. You're not going to have any of these problems if you switch over to solo mode. But you're going to find more players at the nav beacons. You're going to find more players in war zones. So it's good if you want to be in open mode, but if you're concerned about running into players, then more of it is going to happen, basically. Personally, I think that's a good thing. I know that some people don't like everything that goes along with having more players being around them, but I think it's pretty cool. So if we keep an eye on the radar, can't see any players at the moment. You can always tell it's a player because the icon, oh wait, there's one. The icon will be a kind of hollowed out rectangle. So I think that was one who just flew into the nav beacon, maybe. I'm trying to target him. I can't actually see him. There he is. Commander Alexandra Wolf. There we go. And there's another player right there as well. Commander Vede. Oh, there's a third one. That's 3 players straight away. So you can see we're definitely encountering a lot more people out and about than we ever used to. And this system, it's a pretty big system. It's a high-tech system. It's got stations really close to the initial start, so it's a pretty good system, this one. But I never used to see players around it. So this is pretty cool. So we go into the nav beacon. I don't know if anybody else is going to be in here at the moment, but we'll find out. Almost missed that, but we got there in the end. Alright, doesn't look like we've got anybody else in here, just a few NPCs. So the dominant faction, because we'll try this other thing while I'm here. The dominant faction in this system is Empire Group, which I am allied with. So this Cobra Mark III over here is probably with Empire Group, might be with somebody else though. Yeah, he's with Empire Group. I mean, he doesn't have a bounty. If he had... Now, the way it would have worked previously is if he had a bounty, and I had attacked him and killed the bounty, and, you know, gained that bounty, the System Authority would have attacked me, because the System Authority are members of the Empire Group faction, he is a member of the Empire Group faction, and so they would have considered it as not a crime on my behalf, because I wouldn't have received a bounty, but they would have attacked me for it, basically. So now, the way it works is they shouldn't attack me. Of course, I can't prove that because he doesn't actually have a bounty, but I suppose I could wait around here and try to find one that does. Okay, so this Eagle here is a member of the Empire Group faction. I don't think that there is actually a security service in here at the moment, but that shouldn't matter. The way it used to work was that no matter when I attacked him, once the security showed up, they would be hostile. So I'll attack him now. He's wanted, so he's got a bounty. And you can see the other ship on the radar is still green to me. I think that other ship is Empire Group, although I might be wrong, because I'm allied with a couple of the factions in here. So I'm stuck turning around. And what I've noticed, I've actually been flying around this combat zone for a while, or this nav beacon I should say. What I've noticed is that it seems to be more than just the security service, this fix. Because previously, once you attacked a member of any faction, the rest of their faction would turn hostile to you. And you can see we've got a security service here right now, and he is all happy. He's still nice and green. So yeah, but what used to happen was that basically I would attack somebody, say, what are the other factions in here? Let's say I attacked somebody from Emphasetsu Creative Commodities. Every other member of that faction would be hostile to me while I remained in the nav beacon. They wouldn't necessarily attack me, but they would show up red on my radar, and that's no longer happening. So the end result of this fix is that bounty hunting is, I wouldn't say necessarily easier, not that it was too difficult to begin with if I'm honest, but it's perhaps less complicated. It's just one less factor that you have to kind of consider while you're doing it. So that's alright. I mean, it wasn't too big a deal how it worked before once you worked out the mechanics, but the fact is, I mean, A, it was apparently a broken mechanic, given that they fixed it, but B, it simply wasn't explained at all, and it did lead to a lot of players just dying and not knowing why. As I said earlier, myself included at least once. But yeah, so as I said, it all seems to be working pretty well now, so that's good. And yeah, I'm not really sure what else I can say about that. I would say that it's not going to count if the person doesn't have a local bounty, right? If you've just scanned somebody with a kill warrant scanner and they've got a bounty from like 5 systems away, you'll still get a bounty if you attack them in this system, right? They'll only have that bounty in the system that it was issued in, if that makes sense. I'm not sure I've explained that too well, but I mean that's how it's always worked, really. So yeah, that's just part of the game. But yeah, so I think I'll end this one here. It's a pretty good patch, this one, 1.04. I'm really enjoying seeing all these players around. Who knows if I'll keep enjoying it, if I end up getting killed a few times or something, but for right now, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, until next time, I've been Vornskyr. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.